It's the third volume of Secret Avengers, this time by Kot, Michael Walsh. This version kind of basically spun up from the previous version where S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing some dodgy things and they were basically using the Avengers to do it, in particular Hawkeye and Mockingbird, a little bit the Hulk, Black Widow. And they were, it was a spy agency. It was a S.H.I.E.L.D. book, but with Avengers people playing. So when we say Secret Avengers, we really mean S.H.I.E.L.D. with some Avengers is kind of what we've got. So how does this third volume do? Let's get into it. Hey everybody, this is Perch. The third volume of Secret Avengers basically takes the slogan, the run the mission, don't get seen, save the world. The idea that there are threats out there that are so dangerous, so undercover, that you can't just go blazing in there with an Avengers team. You've got to do it with subtlety, you've got to do it with stealth, and you've got to save the world before people even know that the world's in danger. And so the first volume, of course, with Ed Brubaker, Warren Ellis, Rick Remender, was very successful. The title actually did extremely well. Then it was relaunched by Nick Spencer, and Luke Ross did not as well, but still kind of was hanging in there as a S.H.I.E.L.D. book. So the third and final volume was written by Kot, who wanted to take an approach of, I would say, sci-fi absurd. So this is where it's going to really lean into kind of crazy storytelling or things that are more obscure. Maybe that's the best way to put it. So this issue basically promises that Maria Hill is going to have Nick Fury and Phil Coulson, very much an MCU Nick Fury and Phil Coulson, will assemble Black Widow, Spider-Woman, Hawkeye, and some others. And also they're working with MODOK, who is a terrorist who turned S.H.I.E.L.D. informant developer and is kind of working in the background. So kind of like the previous version, we have a cold open where Phil Coulson and Nick Fury are fighting the Fury. This is a Alan Davis, Chris Claremont kind of creation where, used to be seeing it, this very powerful villain type character who used to beat up on Excalibur and Captain Britain. And they're, very shouldn't be way out of Nick Fury and Phil Coulson's league. But he's on board a secret S.H.I.E.L.D. space station and is blowing things up. And how did we get here? So there's a mission to be run. We hop a couple times to different things. We eventually get to a not quite TNA Spider-Woman and Black Widow. They're having a massage in some kind of Russian bathhouse. And as they are getting their massage, they're also introduced to a bunch of guns and to get equipped. Spider-Woman's surprised by this, but why not? They basically are going to get equipped. And we spin again over to Hawkeye, who's running from AIM. AIM was kind of the villain that the Secret Avengers was really dealing with at the time, and he's in some trouble. Meanwhile, up in space, this title is going to hop from page to page. We have Coulson and Fury getting just shit mixed from the Fury. And watching on is MODOK and Maria Hill, who are working together to do some science and, do the science and come up with some crazy weapons and guns. They've got weird mushroom guns and, mice with syringes on top of them. And why not? Eventually, by the way, this book would tip into an idea of MODOK falling in love with Maria Hill and some kind of weird almost romance between the two that no other writer would ever touch on again, but that's fine. In space, the Fury basically is having no trouble just knocking out everyone, and Nick Fury and Phil Coulson are on the ropes. They're going to need some help. Back in on Earth, we've got Hawkeye, who stumbled into some kind of Russian bathhouse. And it's awkward, and he's being weird, and he's naked for some reason, and he is introduced. He's still being chased by AIM. He runs into Black Widow and Spider-Woman. He's dated both, but apparently that this is supposed to be awkward. So then, naked Hawkeye and only in towels Black Widow and Spider-Woman are going to escape. Meanwhile, there's a lot of meanwhiles in this comic. Some villain has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and is going to cause some trouble and create some chaos inside the organization. Maria Hill and MODOK are caught by surprise. Meanwhile, Hawkeye and almost naked Black Widow and Spider-Woman are fighting some people, and they're beating up AIM with spoons and things. It's very wacky. Black Widow does this weird thing where she rips her towel off that she's wearing to cover her nudity with her teeth, but then it gets back on again. It's not exactly sure. I'm not sure what's going on there, but they all hop into a car, Phil Coulson's convertible from the show S.H.I.E.L.D., and they decide to take off into space. So that's what they do. Phil Coulson and Fury, meanwhile, are having trouble. They've blasted a hole in the ship, and the space is going to kill them, and they're hanging on by an extension cord. There's the villain who has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. shoots Maria Hill by the hand. MODOK is upset by this for some reason, and the red convertible is going into space. That's our first issue. So, all right, where do we even begin to break this down? So this is, first of all, this is a S.H.I.E.L.D. book. It's called Secret Avengers because Avengers stuff sells. We ultimately get a bunch of very weird things. Where we have a sentient bomb that comes into the story. We don't really bring too many more people into the cast. There's kind of a lot of metaphysical stuff. The Fury does continue to be involved. There's a guy, Snapper, who's worked for MODOK but is a criminal mastermind and has a exposed brain, and he's involved in the mix. Maria Hill gets put in some danger, and there's a kind of a demon involved, and they're built on anger and rage, and then MODOK expresses his feelings of love for Maria Hill while the sentient bomb decides to sing and save the world and get a mouth. This is a comic. There's a lot of stuff that happens here. Alice Kot is trying to tell a very unusual, more cerebral Avengers story about love and humanity and stuff. In the end, it wraps up with Spider-Woman and Black Widow kind of returning to the spa and telling them they don't want to have weapons anymore because they don't want to feed the endless cycle of violence, and they want to have just massages and gelato. This would be undermined a little bit by, Black Widow continuing to go out and kill people in the title that relaunched immediately after this one ended. But sure, why not? Hawkeye gets naked some more with Deadpool. The Fury has sex with the crazy monster and makes little demon babies, and Talon. Phil Coulson and Nick Fury go surfing, so that's pretty good. This is a comic that's trying to be weird because that's Alice Kot. It's definitely trying to be more cerebral, I guess, in what's happening. This kind of had the feeling of Marvel was giving books to people based on kind of head level pitches, but then maybe not paying attention to what was actually happening inside the book. It's hard to believe that at a time where Disney was really encouraging Marvel to have synergy with the cinematic universe and what was going on with ABC and everything else, it's kind of a little bit hard to imagine that this book was what they had in mind. It had a lot of hugs. I don't know. This isn't a bad book. If you read the whole run, it's got some very unique things going on. You have to go into it imagining that this is it's a thinking person's book. It's questioning the existence of violence and action and what people are doing in spy agencies and all the rest. A lot of crazy callings. But MODOK becomes an Avenger. So there's that. It's not bad, but it's not exactly. I think this comic begs a question, and maybe this is where we are in all the Avengers reviews, where what makes it an Avengers book, and how far can you stray from the concept of the Avengers before it's no longer even anywhere in relation? It's no longer, it no longer fits the brand. It's like, Burger King sells burgers, but if one day Burger King decided, instead of selling burgers, we're going to sell landscaping services. You can't eat those, but landscaping services are valuable. People like them. They make their home beautiful. Don't you think that we should be able to sell, maybe selling greasy meat is harmful to, people's health and the environment, and landscaping services would be better. And people come in and they're like, well, I like landscaping. I like to have a pretty yard, but I kind of came in here for a burger. So should Burger King be forced to sell you a burger because they're known for being burgers, or can they evolve and change themselves into a landscaping service? I think that question really sums up how I feel about this book. Yeah, I'll go with that. So how do you feel about this comic? This was the third volume of Secret Avengers. We did not have a fourth. Maybe later. Who knows? Anything could happen. All new, all different, all crazy Marvel Now could hit any day now, 2021. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Why did you enjoy it? What did you really enjoy about it? Would love to know in the comments below. To be clear, again, I'm not bagging on this book. It's just, it's landscaping services in a Burger King is what it is. Yep. There you go. Hey, like, subscribe, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for listening.